Hello viewers, welcome again to the Village Boy Academy. Today we'll be talking about why you should involve employees in the decision-making process. It is not uncommon that many businesses, especially soloners who have few employees, think it's unnecessary to involve the employees in the decision-making process. And sometimes when a decision is taken and the decision seems not to have gone well, and when they are lamenting and the employees try to chip in and, this is the fact, why didn't you tell me before? Why did you let me know before I took a wrong decision? The truth is that most often we don't consider it necessary to involve employees in the decision-making process. Even in some complex organizations, the managers believe that decision-making rests solely with them, so they hardly involve the lower rank of employees in the decision-making process. Yes, it is true that the buck stops at the table, at the desk of the manager or the MD or whatever designation anybody has. But the truth is that your employees, they are your ears and they are your eyes. In the market, they are the people that most of the time they have more closer affinity with your suppliers, with your customers, with your buyers. So with those kind of relationship that your employees have with them, it's make a lot of reason for you to involve them in the decision-making process. Yes, it may not be that they have to be involved in every aspect of decision-making, but especially the stages where input is needed, where information is required to be able to take a well-informed decision. Involving them make a lot of sense. And also in the, in terms of implementation, because when you make the decision in your business, you will still be expected to implement those decisions. So those are the time that employees, input should come in, their actions, and again, when they are part of process, it is a lot easier for them, to implement it wholeheartedly. Most especially if part of the decision making a suggestion from them. They have this, commitment. They don't want the decision to fail, because it's my trial of them of how good or bad they are. So when we look at the seven critical aspects of decision making, there are so many aspects of them that employees should be involved. Employees should play active role, in my humble opinion. Number one in decision making process is first you have to identify a situation, a problem, a decision. What decision do you want to take? What problem do you want to solve in your organization? So during this period, identification can be by the managers, it can be by the owners, it can also be, contributed to by the employees. Especially if you have a feedback system, whereby the experience they have with the employee, with the outside, with the third parties, with the suppliers, with the customers, with the buyers of your product and services. So they can be part at the beginning of identify situation that require decision to be making about. And number two, you gather relevant information. Here also, employees should play a very critical role. Most of the information about the business are available to the employees. There are even a lot that the owners or the managers may not be aware of. I remember sometimes I was, a kind of a unit head, and a lot of the things that I know that maybe my boss, who was the departmental head, did not know. So without him referring to me, he can't get those information, because they are at my fingertips by the reason of my job description. So if they are taking decision to neglect me, of course, they know they are taking a very suboptimal decision. So it is very important to understand that there are some critical employees that they will have a lot of information. So when you are gathering this information, it makes sense to involve them. Then, when you have gathered your information, the next stage, which is normally is to identify alternatives. Again, this is where two heads are better than one. As it says, goes rather. So when you have identified, when you have gathered your information, then you can look at various alternatives by which you can resolve this. Yes, at this stage, sometimes the manager, as it were, may have a superior knowledge, may have a superior understanding of how to break those information into various alternatives. Also, it could also be a point where you can train some people to train them on ability to identify alternatives when there are decisions to be made. So they should also be involved. Then the next stage, which is you want to weigh the evidence after you have selected alternatives. You want to look at these alternatives. How strong are they? You want to rank them. You want to do that. You can still involve the employees as well, because you can ask for their opinion. You can ask, okay, these alternatives, can you, in your opinion, how will you rank them? And you can compare, see why they are ranking that way. You ask questions. Asking questions always very important when you are involving an employees in the decision-making process. After weighing the evidence of each alternatives, of course, the next stage is you want to choose the most feasible alternative or alternatives. Sometimes you can choose more than one alternative. So when you have chosen this alternative, you may take it as a prerogative not to involve people, not to involve the employee. But if you do involve them, again, you can have a better choice to make, or better choices to make. And because every alternative that you are making, every alternative you are choosing, you should be able to answer the why. Why are you choosing this alternative as against the other alternative? So, and if it is the employee that you have asked them to, okay, make your choice, let us hear what you have chosen, then you ask them to defend that alternatives. Because of that, you see a lot of robustness in decision-making process, because every employee that you are involved at this stage, we know that he or she must, be up to his or her game. So, because whatever decision is made as a result of that alternative choosing, if it turned out to be bad, the employee will not, be happy with that. So they will want to be more diligent. They will want to be more careful. Of course, yes, there are instances where things will not go the way it is expected, and that should be very understandable. But involving them help a lot, more than you can ever imagine. And then what I would call the most critical aspect of decision-making process is taking action. So at the stage when you want to take action, when you want to implement the decision you have made, you cannot isolate the employees. If you do isolate the employees from this process, you are you are undermining your own achievements. It means you don't want to succeed as much as you should. So it is better to involve them. Okay, if they are part of it from the decision, from the beginning, from the process of identification, or anywhere along the line, it becomes a lot easier for them to put all energy to ensure that the implementation of that decision is successful. Remember, if you choose a course of action and you don't act on that, it remains what it is, a decision not implemented. It's like a dream, unrealized dreams, and we all have couples of those. So when you involve them from the beginning or somewhere along the line, it becomes a lot easier for them to be, committed to implementing the decision. And when the decision is well implemented, by all sense of commitment and ability, then you can get the better result. Remember, at this stage, like I said in one of my videos earlier on, willingness and ability will play a major role. Even if they have the ability, they may not be willing, especially if you have isolated them from the process. But if they have a part and parcel of that process, it becomes a lot easier for them to say, okay, this is our decision, and part of this decision making, I will do my best to ensure that we get the desired result, from that decision making. And the last stage, which is the 7-stage decision making process, which is the reviewing of your decision. I mean, based on feedback from your action or your implementation. This should be a joint exercise with the employees, whereby we took the decision, we chose this alternative, and we have implemented. This is the outcome. Just like you do in accounting, what we call various analysis. You do your various analysis here. Various analysis doesn't have to be necessary in terms of figure. It's okay. Did we achieve what we intended to achieve? After we have implemented that decision. If the answer is yes, fine. It means we took a right decision. If the answer is no, it means okay, what did we do wrong? Or what changed? Because you can take a decision today and there are some issues that could occur that are beyond your control. So during the review session, you should be able to identify those. Decision making is like it's a continuous process in an organization. It is not a one-off thing. So you should always be abreast of events. You should always be gathering information. Again, good record keeping comes handy here too. So when you engage your employees meaningfully, especially in decision-making process, there is every likelihood that the organization will benefit more from it. There's also every likelihood that the decision fatigue that you would have suffered, either as a business owner, as a manager, or as a manager, you will not survive it because somebody is sharing the burden with you. So, in another word, your employees should also be your burden bearers. They should not just be some people that you just give them instructions on what to do, as if they don't have ability to think through a process. And until you've tried them, you wouldn't know what they are capable of doing. There are so many organizations that they are not getting the best from their employees because they believe they will make a decision and just give it down, instruct the employees. This is what you should do. This is what we have decided to do. It works in organization, especially in the military. That is why, but we know, the disadvantage of that, the limitation of that too, whereby you cannot ask questions, you cannot query anything. So it is practice I've used over time, especially in training of my children. I use this and I say, okay, when things has to be explained, it's okay, learn to also explain things. When we're dealing with spiritual matter, sharing the scripture and others, okay, you guys should be able to interpret this. And we started by saying, okay, even if this ask a question, you can start with that. When we all read together, okay, tell us what to understand by this, and I say, okay. And I told them, even if it is by asking questions, make sure you are contributing. And over time, I saw them developing, and a lot of the headache was taken off me. And I started benefiting from even some of their depths, was surprising to me. And I believe this kind of practice can also be taken to the workplace, whereby you allow your employees to come and get involved in the decision-making process. Yes, you can still guide them and regulate, if they are going astray, you let them know. Not by shouting that at them, say, don't tell them that the decision, that doesn't make sense. No. Every suggestion makes sense. You just evaluate if it's not feasible, you drop it. It's as simple as that. So you don't have to call their names because they may not get it right sometime or all the time, or a lot of the time. But if you are consistent with them, you will discover that over time, they can even become a lot independent and they can, take some decision, better than you could have done. So, my appeal, if you run business, get your employees actively involved in the decision-making process. And you will be glad you did. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Thank you for sharing with friends. And thank you for all your comments. Keep them coming. Till I see you next time, I remain your village boy.